Great to have you along for the ride. Thanks a lot for stopping by. It is the Joe Pag Show. Really glad to have this man on. I watched him and his brothers wrestle back in the day. I can't believe it's been as long as it's been. It's Kevin Von Erich. Kevin, how are you? Good to see you.
I'm doing great, Joe. Appreciate it.
Yeah, listen, a real pleasure to talk to you. I remember watching you and your brothers, David and Kerry, wrestle, and I remember thinking, I want to be big and strong like that one day. And I remember being in like just a playroom at my friend's house, and we were wrestling, watching you guys wrestle. I really feel like you and your family ushered in what ended up being modern day wrestling entertainment. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think you're right. We're just little boys that loved our dad, and we would just like you, turn our underwear inside out and just wrestle on the carpet.
That's
Just like you
exactly
did.
right. And we were jumping from way too high, or jumping on some mattress or a
Yeah.
chair, or hitting each other over the heads with chairs, hopefully not too hard. But I mean, it was a matter of, I don't know what it was, and I wonder if you can maybe tell me what it was that grabbed our attention immediately and said, we should try to do what they're doing. Do you have any idea what that was?
Yeah, Joe. My brothers and I, we wanted to change wrestling business. My dad was a wrestler our whole lives, and watching him wrestle when he would be getting beat, we couldn't stand it. I mean, we'd have to uh, direct one brother to watch while the others covered our eyes. Say,
Wow.
"Dad's winning," and so we could watch. But it was traumatic. It was really traumatic. But when we got older, we'd seen rock concerts, and we loved football, the slow motion and the
Oh, yeah.
collisions. So we wanted that in our show. Uh, and then we also wanted a quicker pace. We'd seen what they were all wrestling seemed to like. Well, we wanted to really do our very best, and we're all athletes in college, and we knew that to give it all you've got a feeling like I've done something.
Yes.
It's not like before, and it was it was something new and explosive, and the kids loved it. It was like as we had that crossover crowd. The crowd changed from the old, from kind of mostly men to children, a lot of
Yes.
kids and girls, I noticed they say they were selling a lot more cotton candy and cokes than beer after that. And I'm sure they're selling the beer too, but it was it was. It was just natural. It all just happened just right. We were young, and I think that show that that our crowd was young, and it was something. It was something new.
Yeah, it certainly was, and that's why we were like, "Oh my, this is something different." It's not football. Everybody isn't covered up. You guys are wearing like briefs, in the ring and showing off gigantic muscles and athleticism, and we all just you look like superheroes to us. It's Kevin Von Erich. He's got a special show that he's doing. It's called Stories from the Top Rope, and just go to majesticempire.com. Find out where it is near you. Going to be Dallas. Going to be Houston. Going to be San Antonio, Texas. If it goes to other states outside who are listening to us as well and watching us as well, we'll make sure we get you those dates. Again, majesticempire.com. So Dad was already an athlete. If I have the story right, moved to Canada to get into either Canadian football or wrestling in Canada. How did you end up getting back to the Dallas area and starting what turned out to be World Championship Wrestling?
Well, actually, my dad was a football player at SMU in
Oh, okay.
Texas, and but back then, if you were married, then you couldn't retain your amateur status.
Really?
Yeah, and so he went down to the University of Corpus Christi and played football down there. And he wanted to start a bait shop. He was even a detective for a while. He just didn't know. And they moved back up to New York to give wrestling a shot up there.
Okay.
And that's where my brother Jackie was electrocuted.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and so he was 6 years old and almost six. And to my dad and my mother, it was devastating.
It was a power line, right?
No, well, it was a trailer.
Oh.
It was a trailer, and it had been wired wrong. And he was walking along, touching the paint, how it curls up.
Yeah.
And he touched the hot spot and knocked him across the street into a ditch that had been frozen over, and he went under the ice and drowned. And
Oh my
they
God,
say
that's
he
horrible.
drowned. Yeah, it was terrible. Yeah. And my
Was,
mother
was,
and
it, was
dad.
there was there a Canadian connection though at some point, or
Yeah,
did I
well, yeah.
misunderstand that?
There was the Hart brothers, Stu Hart, up
Right.
there in Calgary, had a kind of a wrestling school. There weren't wrestling schools back then, but this was kind of a polishing kind of thing. He's a tough old guy. And so my dad went up there, and Stu trained him, and we lived with the Harts for a while up there, and had a big house. And let me tell you, that guy was tough on his kids. Joe, I want to do these shows because I want people to know my real dad.
Right.
I hear on YouTube all the kind of talk about he was so greedy and it was all about money, and he was not like that at all. My dad was the most honorable, good man I've ever known in my life, and I can't bear it, Joe. With this movie coming out, I don't know what they're going to say. I don't have.
Well, hold on a second.
idea.
Hold on. I'm sorry, Kevin. They're not talking to you about how to portray you in the movie.
No,
They have.
not a bit.
Are you serious? Zac Efron is playing you, right?
Yeah, that's what I hear.
And nobody's talked to you about how to be you.
No,
It doesn't make any sense, does it?
no. Well, as they were shooting it, my sons went down and did some stunt work, for the wrestling part,
Okay.
and they took Holly with her. Holly is Carrie's daughter, and she's so sweet and good. And she was there, and the actor that plays Fritz Von Erich came out, and he was in costume and character. And when Holly saw that, she loved my dad so much, and when she saw that, she gasped, and cried.
Wow.
And this actor, when he saw that, he got a tear in his eye too. And it goes to show me that these people are trying so hard. I think they're going to do a good job. They rebuilt the sportatorium out there in Louisiana. And,
Wow.
yeah.
Have you gone to see what they put together for the set to see if it brings you back?
No, my sons went, and they told me that they went into a wardrobe, and it said, "Dad, it's just like going in your closet."
Wow.
Got all of my clothes in there, and I feel like it's going to be a not bad. Sean Durkin is the producer and
Okay.
director, and he called me and told me that this is a labor of love for him. He said he'd always loved wrestling and loved this, the Von Erichs and world class. And so, Joe, I'm all a man can do is his best, But the only thing I'm worried about is my brothers and my dad being put in a light that's not fair.
Well, they should be represented as they were, and I wish that the producers would have gotten with you. It doesn't make any sense that they didn't. The movie that we're talking about, by the way, is called Iron Claw, and Zac Efron plays Kevin Von Erich. I'm talking with Kevin Von Erich right now, the iconic wrestler, iconic wrestling family. I hope that they depict you guys the right way. I've got to ask you though, because the videos that I've seen don't depict your dad as a bad guy. They depict him as a guy who is a Christian man and literally connected with Christian broadcasting in Dallas, which is oddly the way that this sort of wrestling started. That marriage doesn't make sense to me. How did that work?
Well, that is the truth. That is how I hope they say it like that. But CBN was we were Channel 39 in Dallas was owned by CBN.
Yeah.
And Pat Robertson, our show was really big, and especially in Israel. And, he's got a Christian message he puts out. So he made World Class Wrestling his lead into the 700 Club. And it was, Joe, that sounds like I'm popping off, but President Herzog, I went over there in 1985 and met the president.
Yeah.
And he told me that when wrestling is on is the only time you can depend on there being a ceasefire.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's Jews and Arabs alike, too. I mean, when the Arabs shout my name, they say Kabin, 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 and the Jews say Kiban, Kiban, Kiban.
Well, Kevin, why do you think it was so big there? What was the story? Why would that be so attractive to what was happening in the Middle East? And can you imagine having that kind of power? You and your brothers and your dad having that kind of power for people to put down their weapons for a minute?
No, it's just. I'm so grateful to play a.
Why do you think it resonated?
positive part.
Because when it's happening, you probably in the moment weren't thinking about what a big impact you were making. But now that you look back on it, what do you think it was?
I think it was just that it was natural and real. It was organic. We weren't pretending. We weren't putting anything out there. We're doing our best.
Right.
And it was just clean, hard work and sweat. And so I think maybe,
People appreciate that.
I think so. It was honesty. Honesty. They didn't see that in pro wrestling. It wasn't all about honesty back then. It was pretty much gimmicky. And, we wanted so bad to be different. And I'll tell you, if it hadn't been for the deaths, I think you would be looking at a different world out there today. Dave and I were just, Dave and me and Carrie, we all, had a hand in the show with its production and all, and I just think that it would be another world out there today. But we wouldn't cuss around the kids,
Right.
and we wouldn't do anything dirty like that. We knew that a lot of our audience were these latchkey kids,
And they were going to imitate you.
Yeah, yeah, and that's I felt the responsibility, wanted to do our best, and try to be good examples. But it's hard to be a role model, especially when I did it, 20 years, I wrestled for 20 years, and those I
Wow.
think about 6 years we had world class wrestling going, or 7 years it was.
It is. It's Kevin Von Erich. The name of the show is Stories from the Top Rope. He's going to be doing this show, and it's a great night, just insight into his life, his family's life, the early days of wrestling that so many people watching and listening were a part of. I know I was a part of it in my friend Tommy's basement. So go and check this out if you're in San Antonio, Dallas, or in Houston. Going to be separate nights. Go to majesticempire.com, majesticempire.com to find out where it is and when it's going to be near you. Also, the movie Iron Claw is about his life and his family's life. That'll be coming out soon as well. When you look at what wrestling has become, because early on we thought it was real, and you could probably make an argument, of course it was real. For 20 years you beat your body to death, and you were actually putting on a performance. We didn't realize that so many things had been set up and that it really wasn't, everything that we saw was not planned out. Tell me about the early days. Were you trying to win? Did you know that there was a script that somebody else would win? Were you trying to be as athletic as possible, trying to get a moral message across? When you stepped into the ring, what was going through Kevin Von Erich's head?
Well, that was it. A lot of people are watching, and so I wanted to, have some moral message, but
Yeah.
I'm not talking. It's all physical, and so it was just doing our best and working really hard. But when it came to the matches, we wrestled every night, 7 nights a week. You're going to wrestle this guy probably tomorrow, another one of them, and so we didn't try to kill each other, but we sure, did our best to make it look that way,
Right.
And there was a broken nose or a loose tooth or something after every show because we poured our hearts into it, and we told wrestlers before you came down to Texas, you'd better know how to take care of yourself because it's going to come up. We didn't wrestle like the old style.
Right. And the old style was what? It was more telegraphed? I mean, you guys were really going at it in there.
Yeah, well, yeah, we were going at it, but we didn't want to do that stomp the foot kind of thing, and
Yeah.
all the crazy goofy stuff. We knew what a fight was like. All of us knew about a real fight, and I think we just gave wrestling a reality check. We just kind of brought it up to the common day.
Did you ever think, and it's Kevin Von Erich, go in and check out the show at majesticempire.com. Go check out Stories from the Top Rope. It's going to be amazing. Iron Claw, the movie, is about him and his family as well. Did you have any inkling 40 plus years ago that today wrestling would be what it is? I mean, today it's just, it's global entertainment that I think you guys started.
Well, thank you, Joe. But actually, when somebody points a TV camera at you, it makes you bigger than life. It's not honest at all. I'm just a regular guy, and my brothers we're just good men that wanted to do like our dad did,
Yeah.
and just do our best. If you ever saw one of my dad's matches, oh, it was a story. He told a story. He was a real artist, and I didn't think any of us were as good as my dad was.
Really?
Yeah.
No, were you guys all bigger than Dad? I know that David was what, 6'7". You and your brother were 6'2".
Yeah.
You and Kerry 6'2". Was your dad as big as you?
He was heavier. He
Okay.
weighed 270. When he wrestled,
Wow.
he was about 250, and I wrestled at 6'2", 230, 230 pounds.
Right.
Kerry was about 250, and Dave was about 245.
Right.
So yeah, we were big, but he was a giant, And I'll tell you, I've heard a lot of people say he was intimidating, but he was intimidating, but it wasn't anything he tried to do. He looked you in the eye, and that makes a lot of guys uncomfortable. My dad.
People don't do that anymore, do they?
No, I don't think they do. And anyone that knew my dad said, when you shake Fritz's hand, that's a contract, because my dad never broke his word. And he told wrestlers right up front, if they're, he corrected them or they were going to go, You know, that was just how it is. And what he said went. He always did what he said he was going to do.
It is Kevin Von Erich. The real last name is Atkinson, right?
Atkinson, yeah.
Now, you'll always be known as Kevin Von Erich, but was that just a made-up name?
Yeah, my mother made it up. It was when they were kids, you know, trying to see when he lost Jackie. My big brother was named Jackie.
Yeah.
I think he wanted to die. He was really miserable. And when he got in the ring, he was a different guy. He didn't wrestle this way until Jackie died. He was savage in that ring. And the wrestlers that wrestled him all knew it. Everybody knew if you're wrestling with Fritz, it's going to be different. And it was. And Dad, I think Fritz really started it. But with my brothers, we wanted to just kind of take it from there, you know, and it just, everything seemed to fall in just right.
Right.
But my dad, the savage image that he projected was just, I mean, you couldn't miss it. It was when wrestling was over and the wrestlers would go to their cars, they would boo them. They'd boo all the wrestlers as they came out, you know.
And that means you did a good job, right?
Yeah. But my dad, it was silence when he came out. They were intimidated so much. He just had a look that was intimidating.
Well, listen, I can't wait to check out this show, Stories from the Top Rope. I can't wait to go see the movie Iron Claw. I'm going to ask you after that movie comes out whether they got it right. Can we do that again?
Yeah, that's for sure. Let's do that.
No, if you don't mind.
I'm worried about it.
No, come back on the show. I got to tell you, it doesn't make any sense to me that a movie producer would not get a hold of you and say, Kevin, do I have this right? I think it would be that much more authentic if they did, but hopefully they get it right anyway. If you don't mind, come back on the program. It's Kevin Von Erich. Go to majesticempire.com right now. Find out when it's near you, either Dallas, Houston, or San Antonio. And Iron Claw, the movie, is coming out as well. Let's do this again, my friend. We're frankly out of time. I'd love to talk to you some more.
My pleasure.
I appreciate
Nice to meet you, Joe.
All right, nice to meet you. We're back after this. Stay right here.